Welcome to Algebra Practice. In the previous lesson, you learned how to solve quadratic equations by taking square roots of both sides, and you also learned how to complete the squares. What if we put these two skills together? Now, here's the problem. W squared minus 16w is negative 15. This is what we're going to do. We're going to complete the square on the left-hand side, okay? So think about left hand, we have w squared, and we have negative 16w. So this is like x squared plus bx plus c form, and c is missing. Remember in the previous video, you learned how to find a c. c is b over 2 squared. Okay? Alright, so in this case, our b is negative 16. So negative 16 over 2 squared. Negative 16 over 2, that is negative 8. Negative 8 squared is 64. But you don't have to calculate, just leave it there. Because our next step, remember in the previous video, you learned, go ahead and write down binomial squared. Once you know what is c, your binomial squared would be w minus 8. In case you forget about this part, how do I get a minus 8? Because if you want to write a binomial squared, all you need to do is this part is b over 2. You put it in here. b is negative 6. Negative 6 over 2, that is negative 8. Okay, we just finish writing for the left-hand side. Let us look at what happened to the right-hand side. Think about it. If you want to keep your original equation still true, whatever you do to left side, you got to do for the right side. So for the left-hand side, you added a b over 2, open close parenthesis, squared. Therefore, for the right-hand side, you also need add b over 2, that is negative 16 over 2 squared. Negative 16 over 2, that is negative 8. So let us go ahead and write down that is negative 8. Now, the equation is still true, just like a seesaw. In order to keep the seesaw totally balanced, whatever you added to here, you can add it exactly equivalent amount here. Maybe we don't say seesaw, let's say scale. I want to keep the scale totally balanced. You add 5 pounds here, you're going to add 5 pounds here. I added negative 8 squared. I'm going to add another negative 8 squared. All makes sense, right? Okay. All right, let us continue. We'll look at the right-hand side. Negative 15 plus negative 8 squared, that gives us 49. So we go ahead and write down 49. Now what do we see? Something very familiar from the previous lesson. We know how to solve this equation by taking square roots of both sides. So if we take the square roots both sides, our next step, we're going to have w minus 8, open close parenthesis. Remember, this has to have 2 roots. Therefore, it's positive and negative square root 49. We should have something look like this. Okay, so, excuse me, I meant to write down here, and then I'm going to go ahead, erase this, because I took square roots both sides. Okay, all right, and then I don't even need this parenthesis anymore. I can just release them. They are free. Okay, now here we're going to have 2 situations. Situation 1, w minus 8 is a positive 7. Situation 2, it is negative 7. And then we're going to add 8 each side. W is 15 for the first one. Add 8 each side. W is 1. This is our final solution for this problem. Let us look at our next problem. 2z squared plus 20z minus 8 equals 0. You know me, I like to travel light. Since they all evens, I'm going to have each term divided by 2. Okay? Alright, each term divided by 2, we're going to create a new equivalent equation. This is something you have learned in the first semester, Algebra 1. Okay, so divided by 2, our new equivalent equation look like this. Of course, 0 divided by 2 is still 0. Alright, now I want my left-hand side only has 2 terms. So I'm going to keep z squared and 10z, and I'm going to add 4 each side. I'm going to have something look like this. Now, this look like our first example. Correct? Okay, now I'm going to give these 2 terms their third family member, so make them become a binomial squared. We call this complete the square. Remember, in order to complete a square, very simple. All we need to do is to look at this b, and all we need to do is to put b over 2 here. So what is b over 2? That is 10 over 2. 10 over 2 is 5, which means that is a positive 5. Then we're going to copy down our variable that is z. And don't forget, you just completed the square. Now, here, remember earlier we talked about this scale has to be balanced. Whatever you do to one side, you got to do it to the other side. That's keep our equation true. Now, earlier when you completed the square here, you actually added 25. Why? So think about this part. Isn't it true from the previous lesson and previous example, we know c is missing. How do we find c? Remember, c is b over 2 squared. That is c. So what is b? b is 10 divided by 2 squared. So 5 squared. So that's 25, which means we added 25 to the left-hand side. We got to do it for the right-hand side. Now we call it equation still true. 4 plus 25, that is 29. You know what's coming. The next step, we're going to take a square root from both sides. Now let us square root both sides, and my left-hand side, I will have z plus 5. I square rooted, I have z plus 5. And these two guys, they can be released from the parentheses. And the right-hand side has positive and negative square root 29. Here, we start to have 2 situations. Situation 1, z plus 5 is it will take the positive roots, so it is positive square root 29. Situation 2, z plus 5 will take the negative square root 29. Okay, now you can pull out your little calculator. Earlier we talked about in class. We say if we have time, I'm going to show you a scale how to square any number. I think we should find time to do this. Maybe make another video, quick video. Okay? And for now, if you want to use your calculator, and the square root of 29 is about 5.39. That's the square root of 29. Okay? Alright, now since we're going to minus 5 each side, our first one is z is about 0.39. Our second one, minus 5 each side. Remember this time, negative square root of 29 is